Hello, y'all. I can't do a reading tomorrow. I actually have to clean and stuff like that. And I did a reading today that was a really short reading, so I thought I would get us back into our regular scheduled programming. If you saw their last video, I'm sorry I read that reading in a certain way. That's just how the guidance came through. I was just stepping up in that moment. I was like puffing out my chest a little bit, okay? You know, something my son told me, my son is so wise for his age. He's 17, and him and his girlfriend came into the house after I posted that, and he was like, "What happened?" And I told him, and he was like, "Mom, just post the just put the video back up and just understand that, it comes with the territory, basically." And I thought, isn't that so cute that he's such a good kid. He's got so much wisdom in him for being so young. Every time I'm like fumbling over myself as a mother and I'm dealing with my own mom guilt, I look at him and I look at all my children this way. And I think, like, I gotta be doing something right because these kids are so amazing. And I sent him a message later in the day and I was like, I just love you. You're so sweet. He's like, "What is this about?" I was like, "I don't know. I just was thinking about earlier and how you responded." And he's always got such a sound opinion and sound advice. He's so solid. Man, that Pisces energy. I will stand by male Pisces, March Pisces energy for the most part. It's interesting because I really do depend. I think it depends on how they're raised. But he must have been raised right. I don't know. The kid is beautiful. Where am I going with this? I have no idea. But anyway, I thought we would tap into what's going on here in these connections. And we're going to do, how does your person, or how does this person feel about this connection? So we're going to tap into it. Now, before we get into it, I do want to just provide a little bit of disclaimer. If you came here to be coddled, there's a possibility. Listen, okay, I read into the energies the way that the energies are intended to be read. So in some spaces, maybe it will feel like coddling because there'll be a lot of encouragement and there will be a lot of kind words. And then in other spaces, there might be a little bit of tough love. I go where the energy aligns. Now, part of my life path is that I've been through some things, so I can tap into a wide variety of energy. I'm not going to say that that's unfortunate because I made it through those things I feel personally, in order to be able to guide those that are on a different timeline within those energies. So I will provide a disclaimer depending on the energy that comes up. All right, here we go. What's going on here? How does your person feel? Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. Let's get into it. Hello, Group 1. Inner Earth. I'm going to go ahead. I'm already tapping into this energy a bit, Group 1, and I'm feeling as though your person is really doing some self-reflection, which honestly, if I can just speak candidly, self-reflection within a connection is a beautiful thing. I think we should all do it. All right, before we get into your reading, I just want to provide a little bit of a disclaimer. It seems that I'm going to have to start doing that and remind you that this is for entertainment purposes only. If it doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to continue the read. You can always click off and find a reader that is more aligned with the message that you are wanting to hear. All right, Group 1, Inner Earth. You'll survive this, new solutions and beginnings. I do feel that your person in this moment is really doing some reflecting on self. I have this hit that because of this connection, there has been some growth. Or if it's not because of this connection, they are currently going through it, or they are, you know, in some sense, it feels as though they're sort of coming out of it as kind of a space too, is that they're learning something. They're having some sense of realization. Okay. So what we're going to do before we get into the tarot reading is we're going to go ahead and do an energy check-in, just so that you know whether or not this is your person or this sounds like your person. All right, group one. What is the energy for group one's person, please? I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've tapped into connections. I kind of took a break from that. Jirakun, eh? Going through a little dark moment. Could be a little dark night of the soul. The bear. They are still on they could be a bit on a spiritual journey. Here we are with that firefly. Looking towards the light. And then we got the hyena here. In terms of characteristic traits, okay, they are very humorous and witty and charismatic, and I think that they might utilize, or at one point had utilized, humor as a form of defense. They are somebody who is creative. They would be somebody who kind of walks on a different path of life. They're not somebody who's going to walk on the beaten path, right? So they have something about their life that is either eclectic or unique, or it's just different than what I would consider quote unquote normal. They could be an artist. That is something that comes in with the raccoon energy, or something in the field of creativity. Or they could perhaps be a light worker too, because they have the bear is here and so is the firefly. This is somebody who is coming out of the darkness and really embracing the light in this moment. There's somebody who could be a bit, they could be a bit of a, oh my gosh, what was the phrase that I was just thinking of? But where they kind of catch you off guard. So they could be a little bit unpredictable in a sense. There could be something about this person that has a bit of an unpredictable quality to them. There's some sort of aspect of them that you're a bit apprehensive about, that you can't quite put your finger on or figure out whether or not they are being authentic, I suppose. There's some sort of it's interesting because as much as they are seeking the light and they are moving towards the light, there is a lot of shadowy aspects, at least within your perspective of this person, that there are things that they are hiding within their shadow, or there are things that they are keeping from you, or there is an aspect of them that has you feeling a bit apprehensive about this person. What are some other energetic qualities to this person, please? I have someone showing up as doing the waltz. I don't know what that means at all. But the song that came in was Andy walks with me, Andy talks with me. And I don't know if I said this in a reading the other day, but whenever I hear that song, that reminds me of somebody who is God-centered, because I heard a joke when I was a little girl about God's name being Andy, because a man showed up at the gates of heaven and they were like, in order to get in, you have to say what God's name is. And he was like, oh, I got this. His name is Andy. And the, guardian angel was like, Andy? Why do you think his name is Andy? And the guy was like, because Andy walks with me, Andy talks with me. And so whenever I hear that song come up, in particular, I always think that this is somebody who centers their life around God. Or in this moment, this person is really tapping into their relationship with God in order to move through this sort of darkness that they have lingering within them. Now, I do think that your person has quite a bit of depth to them, group one, but I don't think that it's sort of, I think these are things, at least it feels as though, just energetically, that this is something that they're working through, that they are sort of in that light aspect quite often, but I think some of the darker elements that they would sit into is not something that would be very transparent. Now, there is something about you being kind of closed off from this person, or not really being in a space of kind of being disconnected in a sense, or we don't have a way in. Kind of, I'm getting that with the bear, as in that this person is sort of in hibernation a little bit, and so you're not really sure what's going on in their life, which, I mean, makes sense because you're tapping into a tarot reading to want to know how they feel about this connection. So that, I know that's like a little bit deeper. I tend to stay away from surface level things. I don't have a whole lot of hits that come in that. I think it's because I'm clairsentient and I read people energetically at all times. It's not, I don't tend to see people at surface levels. It's one of my more difficult attributes in connecting with humans, actually, because connecting with humans, I say that as though I'm inhuman or something, but connecting with fellow humans is that I tend to, like, I know what someone is thinking and feeling without them necessarily having to say it. And so when I tap into energy, I do tap a bit beneath the surface more than I would in their ego. Okay, so hopefully that sounds like your person. All right, group one, let's get into the tarot and figure out how this person is viewing this connection. What are we going to use? I'm always called to this thing. I need some new tarot decks, even though I have like 14 or more than that. Do you get bored seeing the same tarot decks over and over again? Because I feel like I need an arsenal. I need more. Just have a whole bunch of tarot decks. Okay. How does group one's person feel about this connection, please? Do we have to pull? You know what? They all flow out. Let's just. How are they feeling about this connection? Well, I think they're a little bit confused, group one. Let me clarify actually, let me give you one more for the top row, and then I'll clarify, and then we'll get in it. Really quick, I think that they just don't know how to view this right now. They're very confused. This guy wanted to pop out, actually. Clarify the 7 of Wands for me, please. Clarify the 6 of Cups in reverse. Oh. Queen of Swords. Clarify the 4 of Wands. They have faith in this, though. Clarify the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, or 10 of Coins in reverse. 10 of Cups. That's interesting. And clarify this Queen of... Oh, boy. Oh, my gosh. Do you see all those? I have the Page of Wands. Bottom of the deck, we have King of Wands. We have the Hangman in reverse and the Devil in reverse. And I just want to bring out here, I want to bring David Bowie out, okay? I'm just going to do it. And we have the Moon. Let me check on layout here to make sure you can see everything, because the other day I was cutting people off. I think you're all right. Okay. Okay. There's a little, yeah, there's a little bit of confusion within your person, group one. So there's one element as though they feel as though they were, they feel as though you have options. Okay. So it's sort of a defeated, I mean, it's kind of, they're a little bit in a defeatist energy, okay? So they are in this space in which they are viewing this connection as it's sort of up and down, it's back and forth, and they're not really sure how to feel about it. It's making them very uncomfortable and a little bit off balance. With the Seven of Wands and the Seven of Cups here, in, you know, the Seven of Cups clarifying the Seven of Wands, this is somebody that feels as though they would have to fight for your attention. They would have to fight for to sort of be seen or to receive attention from you, and that there must be other people that would be interested in you, or that you have many people that are interested in you. And so they feel defeated in that space alone. And they also, because they're in this sort of disconnect from you, is that they don't know if you have somebody else in your life in this moment, or if you are involved with somebody else. They're not sure of that, and they're not sure of that, how whether or not you would see them as a potential partner or a potential, well, partner sounds right. I don't know where I was going to go by adding more to that. I'm not really sure. What do we have here? The Six of Cups in reverse, and then the Queen of Swords. They are feeling as though, and one hit here really quick, group one, is that when you hear this, it feels as though you may be like, well, that's how I view the situation, but we're just going to go into it. They feel as though there was an absence of equal give and take within this situation, and that you laid out some boundaries. And really kind of cut them off, honestly. And I'm going to say, too, just moving across the board into this Four of Wands with strength, they really did see this as a wish fulfillment connection. And through this moment of feeling like there was this imbalance of give and take and these boundaries that were laid out, they're trying to remain strong on this idea that things were different than they are in this moment, or their idea that this was a wish fulfillment. I don't think that they're certain that it is a wish fulfillment, though. I think that's one thing that they're quarreling with, and that has kind of caused them to sort of, where they have been sort of knocked off balance a little bit. They're trying to have faith in this, and they're trying to be strong, but it's more so, group one, that they feel like they're sort of in a space in which they're having to accept the fact that this is not a wish fulfillment. Is more so that the energy that they're in within that strength card is being in this space of going, okay, well, I guess that didn't work out, and so now what, kind of thing. I don't see that they're really entertaining other energies or anything like that. I do feel that they are kind of fixated on this connection, just with the way that they're viewing it, with the Four of Wands and having strength, and the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, clarified by the Ten of Cups. Those four cards, just all by themselves, indicate to me that this is somebody who is really fixated on a connection in which they thought it was going to be a fulfillment, and now are in a space of being uncertain whether or not it would ever be able to balance out, or if it were to be this Ten of Cups outcome. One element here is that they feel like there's something that really knocked this connection off balance. So that Ten of Pentacles in the reverse was that they had seen this as being a very fulfilling connection, and then we completely mishandled the environment, or we completely mishandled the communication. Is one thing that is very prominent in this reading, group one, is there has not been adequate or concrete communication. Communication is very absent within this reading. A lot of emotions that we have unfortunately occur, not necessarily unfortunately, but a lot of energies that we have occur energetically, right? So when we are in an energetic space, simply because we feel something doesn't mean that we are expressing it correctly through communication. So this is one thing that is simply just absent within this connection. There is an absence of being able to effectively communicate our emotions. And so this person is seeing this imbalance of that sort of Ten of Cups energy that they had hoped for within this connection. We have the Queen of Cups in the upright, clarified by the Page of Wands in the reverse, which is an interesting clarifying card for the Queen of Cups. It's almost as though the Queen of Cups became sort of even more the less in which this Page of Wands, which, by the way, the Page of Wands is such a breadcrumber. If we can just be transparent, okay, especially in the reverse, okay? So it seems as though in this space, it's like, if we're going to just get down to brass tacks, one of the issues would have been that this Page of Wand energy seemed as though they were breadcrumbing. And I don't know perhaps which side of the coin I'm reading for in this moment, but that seems as though it was a very prominent problem within this connection. And so this Queen of Cups that was in this space of being able to sort of give themselves more emotionally was met with the antithesis of that, really the opposite of that. They are in this space of, I think that this is sort of after some time has passed, my goodness, after perhaps some time has passed within this connection, and they're sort of coming out of this period of time in which they have been doing some internal healing. Whether or not that's related to this connection, I'm not sure, but oftentimes connections really are the catalyst for our individual growth. And so it's very possible that they have been in this space in which they were moving out of this energy. There is something about this person that perhaps came off as manipulation or controlling, is more so how it is coming through, because manipulation for me is a specific energy. However, being in a controlling state because of a specific response through fear is a different energetic hit for me. And so I would say that this person was trying to control an outcome within their behaviors in a fear-based sense. So the way in which they operated within this connection was because they were, I hate this word, with a passion, but triggered. And something made them fear sort of the connection and caused them to go into this space of perhaps not consciously, but if they are connected into spirit in the way that they had presented in the beginning, or they have that sort of awareness, then perhaps they didn't understand that they had shadow work to do within this connection. I don't know quite why the King of Wands is here. Oh, we have the Emperor on the bottom of the deck. Okay. Interesting. So they could be moving into this sort of, or something at least that they are trying to move outside of. So say, depending on who is who in this connection, but say, you are the Queen of Cups and they are the Page of Wands, which is going to be most in the majority of scenarios. and it doesn't have to be necessarily a male for the Page of Wands, because masculine energy is not gender specific. But we're going to kind of keep it simple, right? So the male or the masculine energy within this connection would have been this Page of Wands energy. And I think what this person is going through now is this sort of this moment of trying to build into this Emperor energy. Now, if you are a masculine tapping into this reading and you feel as though you were the one who is more emotionally fulfilling, then just move those around to the Page of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and then the Empress, okay? And switch it, you know, take it how it resonates. I have a very small collective of masculines, which would typically males would resonate into. And so I do understand that you are watching these readings as well. So I'm trying to be inclusive here. But that is what, so they are in this space of doing internal work, which is an amazing place to be in group one. So I would say that this is one of those sort of deeply transformative connections where when we connect into a specific type of energy, we are learning something from it. Okay, let's see what they are kind of, if they are going to take any action. Ooh, do I want to be in that space? I don't know if I necessarily. Y'all, okay, just side note really quick. I am so tired of seeing reading titles or reading titles that are like, someone's going to reach out soon. Someone's going to reach out soon. Primarily because I feel like it's often us tapping into our own energy on what we want to see happen. And I just hate that. Hate is a strong word. I dislike that because I feel like it's really putting us in the wrong space. So do I want to go into the actions that they're going to take? Ugh, I don't think so, actually. Let me actually provide you advice. Let's do it that way, okay, group one? We'll do advice within this connection on kind of what you need to do, or what the suggestion is for you to do. Where are we going to go with this? Let's go standard right away. What is the advice for group one in this connection? That seems like a lot. Start over. What is the... Oh, y'all are just so funny. Super funny, aren't they? Your advice here is to establish some boundaries surrounding this connection. Yeah, clarify this Knight of Cups in reverse. King of Pentacles in reverse. This person is just not giving to this connection, or it's really sort of more so that I don't think either one of you are giving into this connection. Clarify that High Priestess in reverse, please. Shadow. Y'all, this retrograde energy, oh my goodness. It's just like, it's consistently like we have shadow work to do over and over and over and over again. Oh goodness. Okay. Your advice in this connection, it seems honestly to... Okay, let's just be realistic here. Like, everything is in the reverse except for the Page of Swords, the Ten of Cups, the Moon, and the Six of Wands. which is just focusing on those upright cards really quick. It is establishing boundaries, and the purpose of our establishing boundaries is so that we can enter into a legitimately wish fulfillment connection. It is to have some strength through this sort of uncertainty, okay? And to move out of this energy of sort of seeking answers or solutions, and recognizing that the solution to the problem is within self. Something I heard or I saw in where did I see this? It was like a reel or something, and it was James Van Der Beek cleaning a stove, and he was talking about how the solution to the problem is in the problem. And he took the ashes within the stove and he cleaned the stove with the ashes, and it like completely cleaned the glass on the screen. And this is something that I was like, a hit that I had last night, is that the solution to resistance is within the resistance, to embrace the resistance and to basically step inside of the resistance in order to understand the way through it. So there is there is a little bit of an avoidance here, some sort of an avoidance of accepting truths, some sort of an avoidance surrounding doing some sort of work specifically surrounding our shadow. Going into this energy and going into this space and understanding more about why it is that we are connecting into these specific types of connections, and being able to build into an awareness of what it is that we were intended to do for self. And with this moment, it is essentially that something that I had a hit of coming in earlier today was that you will know without doubt when it is the one. And you will know, you will be so connected into somebody that you won't be able to explain the bond that you have with that person. Now, here's the thing about this group one, and the thing that I cannot stand when we talk about building into healthy connections or building into these healthy spaces, is some of us seem to forget the path that we are on and the path that we took in order to be quote unquote healthy. Okay, and recognizing that if you are truly in energetic alignment with somebody else, right, then they must have had a similar pathway to where you are today in order for you to truly align energetically. So if you have felt that you have had, I have this work that I need to do on self, then the chances of you connecting in with an energetic alignment of somebody who is intended for you is somebody who has also been on a path of healing or being in the space of bettering themselves. So there is this sort of hit that we won't have to fight to feel seen within a connection or within a space. We won't have to fight to feel validated. We will send love and compassion, no matter the scenario, to the person that is intended for us, or within these connections that are they are deeper, but they are moving from a space of unconditional love. One way in which you'll know for certain whether something is moving from unconditional love is when either you or they step a certain way and you feel as though that is something that you have to reflect on within self, and you provide compassion to the other person for their perspectives going through the connection. You don't look at that person with animosity. You don't look at that person with resentment or anger or any of those type of emotions, because those emotions would indicate resistance. It would be something that we would have to work through, right? So it would be a space that we would have to step outside of and pivot outside of in order for us to really be in a wish fulfillment connection where there is love and compassion and empathy and sympathy and admiration and encouragement and care. There is one hit here that our fears can get in the way of being able to see what is a wish fulfillment. Sometimes our boundaries can become too unwavering in certain spaces. This seems to be something that really needs to be worked on within this particular connection. Does that mean that once we work through that this connection is going to come together? No, not realistically. I mean, we have to remain logical about these things, okay? But there is something about being, through all of this, the one thing that we're going to understand, and sort of with this Six of Wands thing, we see the Six of Wands sometimes as somebody sort of being in this parading energy. But in my personal opinion, there are all these wands around this person on this horse with the wreath up on their wand, right? The only person who stands out in that card realistically is the one that is on the horse. Why is it that we present this as though it is showy energy? I disagree with that. I think it is coming in and being the prize. It is being the one that stands out in the crowd. And this is, you'll know when something is for you. And we just have faith in it. We just have faith that what is intended for us will show us in some way. It's going to all come into fruition, and we simply are intended to have faith. In this moment, there is sort of this absence of faith. There is this absence of surrender. That seems to be something else that's coming through in this connection. And part of the surrender is being able to work on self. I'm going to get really weird here for a moment, and I'm sorry, Group 1, but this feels very twin flamey. It feels very much like a soul contract. It feels as though this is something that we were intended to endure for our individual growth. If you look at this person and you feel genuine compassion and care for this person, when if anybody else would kind of step a certain way and you would feel jealousy or resentment or any of those lower vibrations, then that would be an indication that could potentially be a karmic space where what you are being taught in that moment has something to do with karma, not necessarily something about bettering self. And those are completely different things. When you make a choice to be a better person because you feel you hurt somebody else, that is way different than choosing to establish boundaries and change things about yourself because somebody else hurt you. And that is so important that we know the difference. Wow. Okay. Group 1, I feel like, my goodness, that was just like a really heavy channel right there. So powerful though. That was an awesome message, man. I think we could all use that message. Sometimes channeling is so fun. Okay. Really quick. I am going to give you just a couple oracle cards because I feel like that was such a big message. The spectrum. I root out and reject prejudice in myself and others. This does remind me a bit, Group 1, of this sort of transformation of really moving into an awareness and an understanding what unconditional love is. We have to understand that we are in the age of Aquarius, okay? We are moving into a new way of viewing connections and love, and a lot is going to come crumbling down in this space. one thing that in particular I feel is going to be coming down is all these years in which the masculine energy has been sort of just hammered on. I think that's going to shift into the feminine energy being sort of dissected a little bit, where the feminine energies are in a space of looking at themselves and recognizing where they had been operating in a masculine energy for so long that they have become just, they begin moving in certain behaviors. We have the improviser. I effortlessly adapt to deal with unexpected circumstances. There could have been a situation here, you know, a tower didn't come out, but there could have been something that just caught us off guard. I feel like I just went way off balance on seeing like how your person views this connection. God, y'all, I'm horrible at that stuff. I'm just like, no, this is what's going on a much deeper level. Let's just dive into the ocean instead. I'm sorry. I just realized I went off base, and I hope that this was an okay reading to follow. But sometimes, you know, like, first of all, I have ADHD, so we're going to go on side quests in this channel. Okay, baby? That's number one. Number two is I am a deep person. So I'm sorry. We just looked at it on a much deeper level. Anyway, the sovereign, I am my authentic self and no one has dominion over me. I will say that there is some boundaries that are being established within this connection. Now, one thing that I just kind of built into an awareness of while communicating on the fact that I had went down this rabbit hole was that this could be a mirroring energy. There could be a lot of things that y'all are collectively working on, and that really this was sort of a message for you on the things that needed to be sort of done for self in order to build into a fulfillment connection. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be this person, but that what you are working on in this moment will bring in the type of connection that you are hoping for and looking for, so long as you have that faith in self and do recognize why it is that we're tapping into these connections and these situations in which communication is so off base. All right, group one. I don't know why I almost said group two. So I don't know if there's something in group two for you, but perhaps there is. Okay, group one, that is your reading. Thank you so much for being here. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. I love hearing your messages. I love seeing the little affirmations in which something really resonated with you. That makes my day. I'm not a super big fan of the negative comments, but if you have, you know, constructive criticism that you can express delicately, I have, I may or may not take your advice. I don't know. We'll see. Every time I'm a good learner through constructive criticism, but man, I take that shit personally and I got to work on it. But a part of my ADHD has rejection sensitive dysphoria, and we are a sensitive baby sometimes. When I was a little girl, I used to always resonate into that song by Jewel. It's like, I'm sensitive and I'd like to stay that way. That's me to a T. But you know, one thing I love is that when earlier today, when I had sort of some energies come in that were really they were real nasty about the way they approached that, and having and seeing my subscribers come in and combat for me. Y'all are the sweetest humans. I feel like I have found my tribe, and I'm so grateful for you and so grateful that we're here in this moment together. Anyway, that's all I have for you, group one. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hello. Hello, group 2. How y'all doing? Group 2, the card that you have pulled out is baby steps for your person and how they're feeling in this moment. And what they have here is action. Follow your intuition before it makes sense. I really think your person is sort of grappling with this idea of taking action within this connection or taking action within some space. I don't think that this is something that your person, group 2, is really comfortable with. I think there's a lot of fear that they have surrounding this connection and being able to move forward within it. And I don't think that they are very connected to their own intuition and their own intuitive body. They seem to really grapple with trusting themselves. This seems to be something, your person seems to be somebody who doesn't trust themselves. I see them as being very influenced. I almost said influential, but that's not the word that I was searching for. This is somebody who is easily influenced by others or the opinions of others or the ideas of others or the ways that others think that they should be. So this is somebody who is sort of having to step into their own personal empowerment, and they are taking these small strides to essentially tackle a mountain, because this seems and feels like it's been sort of this lifetime of them building into this awareness that in order for them to achieve the things that they want, they need to be able to trust themselves a little bit more. What we're going to do here, group 2, is we're going to get into your person's energy and do a little bit of read on them. I want to provide you a bit of disclaimer before we get into this. I am a deep reader. I do read beneath the surface of ego. I don't technically tend to stay in that buoyant energy. I'm actually not very good at reading ego. I'm not very good at reading surface level things. I actually struggle with this as just operating in the natural world, is that I am an energy reader wherever I go, and I know what people are thinking without them having to say it, typically, which doesn't make things, I can tell when an energy is really authentic and kind, and I can tell when an energy is the antithesis of that. So I am a bit of a deep reader, so coming out with these sort of who your person is in this energetic read is not necessarily going to be characteristics in particular. It could be a deeper reading on the energy check-in. The other thing I want to provide a disclaimer on before we get into this is to recognize that these readings are intended for entertainment purposes only. If a reading does not connect with you, you don't have to stay here. You can click out of the video and find a reader that you feel is more in alignment with what you are wanting to hear. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, because I know this group 2 collective tends to be a little impatient. Hello. Just calling you out already. Your person is going through some transformative space. It's really kind of what they feel a little bit like they're in limbo in this moment. I have the butterfly here. Let's see. In this moment, your person is simply trying to adapt into their surroundings. They feel a little disconnected from faith and surrender. They do feel disconnected from their intuition and disconnected from some of the, especially, oh, they're so disconnected from self. It is as though just stepping into this energy is so bizarre. This is the first time I've had this energetic hit like this. So it is as though they are completely disconnected with their chakra system, that they are operating completely within the 3D. They are okay. So I'm just going to explain to you guys really quick that it feels as though I'm not connected into my own body in this moment in doing this read. And it's making me a little bit uncomfortable. I'm just going to be very transparent with you. This person is really adapted into their surroundings. They are so disconnected from spirit. They are so present and so grounded into the 3D that they are... It's interesting because this transformative process in which they would be going through is occurring almost completely within the 3D. They aren't in this space of being centered into their mind. I've never felt this before, ever, in a reading. I just want to say that the energy shift in this moment is so strange. It is almost as though they are operating from a space in which they do not utilize emotion to make decisions. At all. I don't know how to explain this energy. But this is somebody who would operate very well in the 3D. I don't think I've ever personally felt this connected into the 3D ever in my life, actually. I think this is a first for me to ever experience in a reading or in general. And now I'm moving back into my emotional body. That was crazy. Y'all, that was so weird. They are so disconnected. I don't think this is somebody who has a whole lot of emotional depth to them. It is so buried in them. They are operating almost entirely in the center, the ego center, which is really interesting because I said that I wasn't going to go into ego, and then it took me right into ego within this person. They're just so disconnected. They aren't, so within the spider thing, you know, this within the spider in the reverse would be as though they aren't contemplating, they aren't sort of analyzing, they aren't in the space of dwelling, they aren't in the space of overthinking or allowing themselves to analyze the situation. It's as though they are so fixated on whatever they have going on in their 3D environment that they are it is either that they are disconnected that much emotionally from this connection, or they just are that disconnected from emotions in general. Interestingly enough, though, it's almost as though perhaps what they are building these baby steps into with this butterfly thing is moving into their emotional body. Could be something that they are working on in order to, you know, to climb this mountain that's in front of them in these baby steps. But how they operate on a frequent basis is that they are so tapped into the 3D all the time. Very interesting. I would say, group 3, that part of these transformations that they're going through, I'm not sure that you would see. Because this would be something that, in terms of this sort of the emotional space within this person, is so shallow, at least in what they've been able to tap into, that I don't actually feel like they're putting in too much emotion into this space, in this, at least not in this moment. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so I'm sorry. I bet that just really explains your person, doesn't it? Just so well. Yeah. I swear, y'all, if you shoot the messenger, if I see one more comment on one of my videos that says a reading was awful, when I might just, where are we going? All right. How does your person view this connection? I'm very interested to see how your person views this connection. Even in my speech, y'all, when I'm communicating, I feel as though I am disconnected from my own voice. It's crazy. Their energy is different. This is definitely a different energy than I have felt ever, I think, in reading. How does group 2's person view this connection? Interesting. Clarify the Ace of Wands in the reverse. The Four of Wands. Why would I feel so disconnected? Clarify the Four of Coins in the reverse. Judgment. Y'all, this person is so disconnected emotionally. It's weird. It's that they see this all in such an ego center. Oh my goodness. It is so ego centered. I mean, I've tapped into energy. I tap into energy all the time, but the way that this energy feels is like, I can't describe it. I couldn't imagine operating in this space at all times. So it's like no emotion. How do you even feel this? Like, what is the feeling here? It's such a small hit. Okay, so usually when I see the Lovers card, I feel love. I feel it. I can physically feel it. They can't feel it. It's sad almost. If I'm going to be transparent here, group 2, it's very... It's a little bit overwhelming how disconnected they are from their emotional body. All right, I'm going to try to get over that. I'm sorry, group 2. Did I just call you group 1 on accident? I don't know if I did. I'm sorry. How do they view this connection? They're so confused. They have so... Okay, here's the thing, is that they're aware that there are deeper feelings here. It's like they're trying their best to be completely disconnected from this connection, completely disconnected from any emotions in this connect. And wow, they have some self-control to be able to be in this space, in this energy. But the interesting thing is that they have some sort of an awareness or some sort of view on this connection in which they do see it as a wish fulfillment. They're aware of that, but they have no idea how to bring that into fruition. And it's as though that they're just afraid. And not even that, they don't even have that emotion. It's not fear. It's all centered in logic and looking at it in this very present space. It is so easy for them to distract themselves from this connection group too. It is so easy for them to distract themselves into the 3D. They are not operating within emotions. There's imbalance. They see this. Now they do see something surrounding karma or some sort of karmic hit here, where they are viewing this in a space of recognizing that there's some sort of imbalance, recognizing that there is some sort of karma that is being delivered. Are they that keenly aware of it? I'm not sure, because the space in which they're operating in is not really in a space of being able to look at things through an all-encompassing lens. It's very tunnel visioned, but also at the same time, it's almost, I don't know, it's like this dichotomy between being tunnel visioned and also being completely oblivious at the same time. They aren't actually overthinking this. They aren't in this space of contemplating this or dwelling on this. There could be a hit here. I just want to state real quick that for some of you, it could be that they don't need to, that they already know. And I do want to just state that for 1 second, because I do think for a small collective of you that part of the reason why there isn't sort of this thinking brain coming through or this analyzing is because they're already kind of aware. There is some sense of them sort of repeating some sort of cycle within this space or within this connection. However, they feel it seems as though they feel like you're the one, or they have an awareness that you might be the one. They're sort of building into this awareness as where they see you as the potential of being the one, or they feel as though you see them as the one. But this is supposed to be from their perspective. With the Six of Wands and the Lovers coming out, to me, the Six of Wands is consistently the person sort of standing out in a crowd, right? So if they have, obviously you're not talking or you're not communicating effectively if you're here listening to a reading. So if you're curious, it's if they're doing any comparative analysis between you and other people, which I would really recommend not being in a space in which you are an option, right? They do see you as the one who stands out among the crowd and see you as the one that has the most potential to be a partner. But they're disconnected. There's something that they are just working on in the 3D that is not allowing them to put emotion into this space right now. They do see you as this sort of shining light in their life, okay? And there may have been a period of time in which they thought they weren't sure if they could trust you with this Devil card here. But I think through interacting with you or through building some kind of an awareness, they were able to see that you were authentic. There was something about you that moved from a space of authenticity, and that had not wavered. They do, however, if this is a masculine energy that you're reading about, they would see you as unstable. There is one element of that hitting in. Don't shoot the messenger here, group 2. It's not my fault. I don't think that they see themselves as all that stable either. But it's interesting is that even though they may see you is in this space of instability, they do see themselves wanting at least to move into this space of being able to provide some sort of cup of love to you, to bring in some sort of emotion into this space, which is interesting. That could be the baby steps, as they could be they have a lot of work to do, group 2, on being able to move into their emotional body, at least from my perspective and how I am reading this energy. However, let me however this, they do see you as the Empress. They do see you as a wish fulfillment. What I feel like group 2, your person quarrels with is, do they see themselves as wish fulfillment? Because I think that's the big hang up within your person, is they feel like it's sort of this, they just have so much doubt within themselves. They don't have a good relationship with themselves. It's as though it's kind of like, it's kind of this like, why even try, because it's just going to end up, you know what I mean? It's kind of that energy a little bit. And that is why they're not really giving into this space. They are, I mean, how many times am I going to say it? I'm just going to beat this dead horse here, saying that they're emotionally disconnected from it. This is a very emotionally unavailable person. And when I mean emotionally unavailable, I mean emotionally unavailable. And I think there's something about, you know, it's interesting. This is such a weird hit, okay, but I'm going to explain it to you, and this is kind of a side quest here. So, ADHD moment. I had built into an awareness last year or so that I had never actually felt outside of my relationship with my children. Unconditional love in a romantic space. And I moved into an awareness of this because I felt I felt genuinely, like, compassionately love for another person. And I realized in that moment that I thought, oh my goodness, like I did not know at all that this is how this felt in this space. I thought it felt like this. And then I moved into this awareness that what I had thought was unconditional love didn't feel like that at all. And what I had recognized is that I had been in a space, in a toxic situation, in which I had been giving even what I had thought was unconditional love, which I found out was just, I mean, it was love, but it wasn't the same, into a space, and they couldn't have possibly known what that was like, because they had been sort of bred in this environment in which they had never been given, they had never been nurtured in any capacity. And I was expecting them to know what nurturing felt like, and they didn't know. They had no idea, because they couldn't tap into that empathetically through their own energy. This reminds me of somebody kind of like that. Now, they're not malicious by any means. Like, if you look at this person, group 2, train confirmation. Can y'all believe that there's a train going through at like 1 o'clock at night, or midnight, or whatever time it is? The trains today, like, we've had more trains today than I think that. Okay, we're here. We know. Yes, thank you. Hi, hello. Absurd. This train conductor is on a rampage. He's like, I'm pissed off. Everybody wake up. They don't ever run their horn like that. Okay. Oh man, that stupid train just knocked me completely off balance on what I was saying. Oh, emotional body. Okay, so, or, you know, understanding, you know, this to me is that the way that empathy works, from my perspective anyway, and this is, take it with a grain of salt, but it requires us to know what something feels like in order to truly empathize for it. This is somebody that I feel as though they've operated in so many spaces in which they felt like they just weren't being provided genuine love, it doesn't seem like. So then they have you come into the picture, and you are maybe offering them sort of compassion, or you're I don't know if you are, because I would say that I would argue that the majority of people who would be within a connection like this would not have an understanding of their behavior, and therefore the majority of people would not be compassionate towards them at all. And that's difficult for them to probably quarrel with. So then they have this space of, moving into this, they just don't trust. They have so much trust issues. They don't trust you. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust the connection. They don't trust, it's like they don't know how to operate in this space. They don't know how to provide you what you're looking for realistically. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to go into advice for you on this group 2. I swear the video quality of this video is probably going to be awful, and the reading is so great tonight. Such is life. Okay. What is the advice for group 2, please? I love that I said I wanted to find a way to tap into my group 2 collective and be able to communicate with them better. And I feel like that was delivered to me. Thank you so much. So I was having some issues in that space. Your advice. Hold up. I'm going to go through the top row here for you. Interesting. Clarify the Fool for me. I heard that song, Only Fools Fall in Love. Page of Wands is clarified by the Moon. Clarify the Page of Swords. What is the advice here, please? Clarify the Five of Wands. Clarify the Knight of Wands, please. Clarifying the Knight of Wands is the King of Wands in reverse. Don't you all just love when they do that? Like, what does that mean? On the bottom of the deck, you do have the Tower in reverse. Hold up. I saw that 10 of Cups. It's interesting. You want to know what just happened, y'all? The 10 of Cups is here, and then a bunch of stuff fell out, and what it came out to was the 10 of Pentacles. What is your advice in this moment? What is the advice here for group 2, please? You are being sort of called to use your intuition in this moment, though I did have this. I do think that you are also being... Ooh, look at you coming out as the Empress energy. Confirmation. I have a hair somewhere on me that continuously keeps bothering me. It's throwing me off being able to read this reading. Making sure that we're stepping outside of... Hold on. There's a big message here. I'm coming. Please be patient. It's anyway, that's what's in the cards. You're supposed to be patient right now anyway. So listen. Make sure that we're stepping out of repeating cycles. Okay. There's one sort of hit here in that we tend to be in a space in which we are... It seems as though you may have actually a bit of comfortability surrounding risk-taking. and sort of being in this space where when something's emotionally unfulfilling or there is no emotional fulfillment, and especially if, okay, so if you're somebody who maybe just has a type and it just so happens to be emotionally unavailable people, then you could potentially be someone who is often in a space in which you sort of, you take all the risk in that, okay? And this is sort of telling you to not do that here, to go ahead and go into looking into ourselves and sort of kind of understanding the why, okay? Why is it that we do that? What is it that occurred in our sort of developmental stages that placed us in this position in which we are consistently the one that is sort of holding our hand out to others to come up to us, rather than allowing them the space they need to sort of come up on their own. Remember, this person's path is to be, they're on a journey with these baby steps. This is their journey. This is their battle. And we cannot continue to be in a space where we are holding our hand out to someone else kind of going through a battle and you know, holding them up. But we can, what we can do in that space, group 2, is we can offer them compassion. Remember, you are the Empress. You are aware that this could potentially be a 10 of Cups or a 10 of Pentacles, a fulfilling connection, if you have the patience for it. Does that mean that you have to wait for somebody? Absolutely not. You know, you don't have to. But I mean, if you're here and you're connected into this person and you truly have compassion and you care about this person, and that's something that you are wanting to do, we're going to have to move into a space of having a lot of patience, establishing these boundaries, specifically surrounding giving too much in spaces where we do not feel that reciprocated, to get out of this space in which we become sort of combative for anything that feels like it might provide us heartache, and even becoming, you know, this Knight of Wands and the King of Wands in reverse is a really interesting layout for me personally, but I kind of feel it is more so recognizing the difference, right? Recognizing when, so a Knight of Wands is like a good time for a short time, right? But a King of Wands is, look at the way the King of Wands sits in his throne. Like, he's got some daddy vibes. Right? Do you see the way the King of Wands sits up on his throne like he owns the place? Recognizing the difference between these energies, recognizing the difference between a fly-by-night energy and an actual King of Wands seems to be what the I mean, that's how it's reading to me, because otherwise I don't understand it in any other space, personally. But so to me, it's sort of being able to recognize that the Knight of Wands, when they're in that sort of player type energy a little bit, or they're coming in with this sort of hit of a bit of, you know, kind of using, being flirtatious or charismatic, or utilizing that as though it is emotion, you know, using essentially sex as though it is emotion, is not quite the same as actually using emotion within a connection. And so recognizing that the difference, okay, and being able to understand how a King of Wands would operate. All right, group 2, that is the message for you on how they feel about this connection and what's going on. If that resonated with you, please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if this resonated with you. Thank you so much for being here, group 2. Enjoy the rest of your day or night or whatever it is that you are watching this. Group 3, the activators. That's what I'm going to call y'all. Group 3. The Group 3 collective, I think you are all sort of the inspiration that the rest of us are sort of seeking in this moment, seeking a space to be. Whenever I tap into the Group 3's energy, and whenever the Group 3 collective comments on my stuff, y'all are so kind and compassionate and giving and nurturing. You're such beautiful humans. I'm so grateful that I get to share this space with you. Thank you. You know, I should really give myself a little bit more credit, because if I'm tapping into the energetic alignment, then I have I have a way in, you know. Now, I do feel like I'm sort of on this journey towards embodying more of what your energy tends to come through as. I don't feel like I always operate in this space. I would love to. I would love to always operate in this energy. But I do find it something that I aspire to be more consistently. The new earth, it's happening. Keep holding the vision. I've talked about this before, Group 3, that there is a collective among us that is raising the energetic vibration of the earth. And I know that that sounds a little bit woo-woo, and I'm on board with you. It does. But that is how it has been downloaded to me. I don't know where I would have gathered this information, but it is sort of this idea that we are all connected, and that right now, because of the way the system around us operates, we are operating in technically a low vibration. We consistently see where we are constantly sort of psychologically divided, right? And we are moving now into this awareness that in order to raise the vibration, we are to shift the energetic alignment through unconditional love. One of the things, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Bible for a second. You don't have to tap into this. Remember that this is, you can take what you want out of a reading and leave the rest behind, correct? But I've seen several times where people who are sort of these scholars in the Bible have been talking about the new earth, right? And the way that was presented to me is that it's not going to be like this earth is destroyed and then there's a new earth. It's not going to be that dramatic, but more so that we're entering into the undoing of this sort of building into this energetic alignment that is operating from a lower vibration, and that the new earth is going to actually be within a higher vibration. And so that is sort of what the age of Aquarius is unfolding. And I think, if I'm going to be frank, I feel like it's going to get worse before it gets better, unfortunately. But it seems, honestly, that, and I'm not going to say that because, knock on wood, let's throw that narrative out the window, actually, because why would we say that? We have to remember that intention is everything, right? What are we doing? What are we talking about? Actually, simply because I feel like I'm operating in the space that I am now with the awareness that I have, I take that back. I feel like there are many among us who are sort of waking up to this. And I don't mean woke, because that's a much different space, right? No, I mean that we are building into the awareness of what it means to operate truly from unconditional love. All right, let's get into the energy of your person, Group 3. And how they view this connection. Give me just one, please. One at a time. This guy wants to come out. Interesting. You got a bit of a firecracker on your hands. Look at you, you light worker, attracting I'm going to bring out the swan. Okay, I am going to be conscious of this. I had someone tell me not to utilize a specific phrase surrounding the swan. Now, I'm going to also say that I think we need to get out of the space that is allowing. We have been operating in a space where we are intended to have everything be offensive, and that works in every scenario. But this is somebody, your person is somebody who did go through a transformation of sort of improving themselves, having been in a space where perhaps they maybe were, they wouldn't have been, well, you know what? Honestly, I lied. I said I wasn't going to say it, but this is my channel and I'm going to say it anyway. This is somebody that went through the ugly duckling thing. And listen, if that triggers you, which I don't think it will. I don't think my group 3 collective would be actually triggered by that sentiment. I really don't feel that way. But this is somebody who would have went through that sort of process, that scenario where they would have been as someone in their past who really wouldn't have been the one who everybody would want attention from. Not even a little bit. And they move now into the space in which they're kind of, the cool thing about this, so group 3, is they moved into this space of being in the swan, and then they're also humble at the same time because their insides match their outsides. Now, I will say a little bit about this person is they remind me a bit of a Scorpio moon. They're a firecracker. They definitely have I don't want to say temper necessarily here because, well, they might have a temper. They might have temper though. Are we going to use the word temper? Tap me into the fire ant energy. Oh, well, they might have a temper. Okay. They might have a little bit of I feel as though, okay, let me get into this a little bit for you, group 3, because yes, I think they do, but I think it depends on, I think it's warranted in some capacity. I don't think that they would be the type of person that just would be angry or would just rage, okay? I feel like something would have to, I hate this word with a passion, but trigger them. Before that sort of more aggressive nature would come out. And I think it has something to do with this sort of transformation because they have been pushed down, okay, in life. And so I think that that's probably why they have a little bit of tenacity to them. However, they are also, they're a hard worker. They are a bit of a workaholic, if I'm going to be honest. They have sort of this, but they're also playful. So they do have a good balance. Don't get me wrong here, but they are somebody who definitely is going to spend a bit of time kind of building for the future is sort of their vibe. I've been saying recently, group 3, that I want to find I've been saying I want to find someone that I could survive the apocalypse with, and I feel like that's kind of your person. I feel like they have that quality to them, or they would be somebody that would be able to make it through an apocalypse. And with this new earth being the energy here, I think that's somebody that you would actually really want on your side in case, you know, shit ever hits the fan. There is sort of this playful and charismatic quality to them, but I think they're kind of silly about it because I feel like they don't have this awareness. I still feel as though there's some kind of dysmorphia surrounding this transformation that they've had moving into this swan energy that has sort of left them in a space where they don't see they don't see themselves as a swan, which is good. They're really humble. So they're very playful and very sort of, I'm not going to say that they're adaptable, because I actually don't feel that they're all that adaptable. But they have a little bit of they have a little bit of spontaneity. They have a bit of balance there. But where was I just going to go with that? My ADHD totally side quested me in that moment. Swan, work. I'm trying to backtrack on it, I swear. But they do have this sort of, I was going to say they don't, oh my goodness, I've lost it. I'm sorry. Just that one went into the land of where the black hole of where ADHD thoughts go. I'm sorry. Okay. And I've spent way too much time on this video to stop it and figure out what I just said. So, just know that your person they are, the stubborn thing. Okay, thank you. Goodness, I'm sorry. It took me a second to get back to that. I do think that they are a bit stubborn, but there is a little bit of duality within it. And I think that has something to do with sort of their, the way in which they kind of push forward through things. I don't think they moved into this transformative energy or built this sort of thick skin around not having gone through things or having worked through things. This is somebody who's really put in a lot of work in order to get into the space that they are in this moment. Okay. Goodness, that took a second to get out. Let me grab a drink of my coffee real quick. All right, how do they feel about this connection, please? How does group 3's person feel about this connection, please? How does group 3's person feel about this connection? Dun, dun, dun. That's lovely. Just coming out right away. The Tower was like... How does group 3's person feel about this connection, please? I'm going to pull out all the cards for you, group 3. And then I'll do the reading for you. I feel like I can do that for group 3. Other energies that I tap into, I feel as though I get impatient because I know the energy viewing in is impatient. But my group 3 collective, you always have you guys have so much patience that I know you're like very comfortable just kind of waiting. Very interesting that the Tower is in the upright and everything else is in the reverse right now. So that's interesting. Okay, clarify this Tower, please, for me. Oh, something really knocked them off balance. Clarify the Page of Wands in the reverse. Are we serious right now? Clarify the Four of Swords in the reverse. Is everything going to come in the reverse? They don't know what to think. Okay, hold up. Clarify the Justice in reverse. Y'all are kidding me. Do you see that? Okay. Clarifying the Justice in reverse is the Four of Cups in reverse. Do you know how similar those two cards are? This is being so cheeky. Actually, a lot of these cards are that way. Look at that. It's like, why do we need to clarify this? This means this, and this means this, and this means this. I feel like your person is very... like fact-based almost, where they would operate in a space that was like straight facts almost, and they would focus on the facts. And so it's really funny to me because a lot of these cards, like the representation, the clarifying card means almost the exact same thing as the card above it. That's just kind of funny. Okay. Anyway, clarify the Eight of Wands in the reverse. I swear, if the Chariot in reverse comes out, I will die. Well, hopefully I don't die. Seven of Cups in the reverse. And look at you on the bottom of the deck. Queen of Wands in the upright. And then we also have the Three of Wands in the upright as well on the bottom of the deck. Interesting. Okay. How do they view this connection? Okay, let's go ahead and just start with this Tower and the Knight of Swords within, there could have been a cutoff here a little bit, okay? And it could have been a bit abrupt. And it took them off balance a bit. So this was just like a moment where this sort of, this kind of, something shook shit up, okay, in this connection that threw them a little bit off balance. And I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna tell you, y'all, I'm getting so hot in this moment. First of all, this person, they have the hots for you. They're so physically attracted to you. But also, it pissed them off. Whatever happened, you know, because that fire is coming out, it pissed them off. Because I feel like I'm like, the energy I feel coming into this moment, I instantly tapped into that fire ant energy a little bit. And it's like, with this Tower card, is that this abrupt moment pissed them off. They got mad about some kind of situation that happened. And I think that what it was is sort of an establishment and some kind of boundaries, or a communication, okay, that they just didn't take well. And it pissed them off. And yet they still see you as somebody that they're very highly attracted to, that they have a physical attraction for. They see you as very passionate and this very sensual and perhaps a bit of this sort of fiery energy, okay? But there was a moment, something happened, and it didn't make them very happy. And then it kind of moved into, so then right now how they see it is, well, they're not giving to it, they're not communicating, so they're sort of in the, they're throwing a little bit of a fit, group 3. If I'm gonna be transparent here, is that I think there was some kind of communication that they needed to hear that they didn't want to hear, and then it was like there must have been some truth to it, and they didn't want to hear it, kind of vibe. They just, so then they moved into this space that was like, nope. But and yet still being very physically attracted to you through the process. Because it was like there's no giving, so that they put, now they're in this space that they're not giving into it, and you know, they're not even giving a little bit of flirtation, and they're not giving any communication, and they're not sitting over here contemplating on it. They're not in this energy of dwelling. Now, I will say that it did knock them off balance, okay? And interestingly enough, is even though it knocked them off balance, and even though they're in this space in which they're not giving to it, or there's some kind of blockage that occurred here, they also, they're not realistically focusing on anything else in terms of connections anyway. So it isn't as though they're out there like looking at, you know, kind of being back in the space of looking at other options. It's almost as though whatever this did to kind of make them upset with you, where they got angry with you, it made them want you more. Interestingly enough, like that's how it's kind of reading. But I do, you know, there's a little bit, there is a hit here, group 3, just even though we're being playful, is there is a little bit of emotional immaturity in how they sort of responded to this situation within this connection. And so there is something about them kind of seeing where there is some kind of groundwork or foundation that needs to be established before they can move forward within this space, and not being super happy about it. They're mad. It's sort of like with the Queen of Wands thing, y'all, I see it more like a gavel, where you just came down with a gavel and we're like, nope. And they did not like that. Interesting. Okay, let me get you advice on this. It just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on emotionally in this moment for this connection. Unfortunately, group 3, so that's kind of as deep as the energetic read gets with that person. I think it is so kind of funny how they're a little bit mad. they're throwing a little, they're pouting a little bit. Okay. All right. So what is the advice here for group 3? What is the advice for group 3? I just realized I pulled out my OG deck. Is this, well, hold up. We're pulling out the 10 of Swords. How is that advice? Let's pull out more cards. And let advice. Here's the 10 of Swords. What? What is going on here? Here comes the sun. All right. Clarify the 10 of Swords for me, please. Did you see that pop out? Like, yes, we know you don't like the 10 of Swords. Here you go. Sometimes. Clarify the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, please. Are you in some Hanged Man energy, group 3? Are we doing some self-reflecting, or just fixating on ourselves, or just surrendering to the universe, or spending some time on the yoga mat, just being in our peace, connecting in with spirit and our crown? Clarify the Sun here, please. I got such a hit here. Y'all are gonna think I'm crazy, but I just heard. I feel like your person has like this sort of cheeky sense of humor. But anyway, like with this, I'm being pulled to this 5 of Wands and the Ace of Wands clarifying it, and I instantly heard one wand to rule them all. Okay, anyway. Sorry, we'll get into that in a second. I just wanted to say that before I forget. Knight of Swords in reverse. Can we clarify that, please? Ace of Swords in the upright. Bottom of the deck. 7 of Pentacles. The High Priestess. I just would like a clarification on the Magician in the reverse under Sun, please. Before we move into this, this was one. That was super helpful. Judgment. Karma coming in. Good karma coming in. Okay, the advice in this situation. Okay, so even though there was this moment, oh my goodness, group 3, I could just cry because I had such a beautiful message come out for you. I got cut off the storage in my camera and decided that it was full. And so it cut off and I didn't realize it until after I did the reading. So I think I was at kind of talking about your person's cheeky sense of humor here. So the message that came through within the rest of these cards was, oh, I don't even think I even got into even reading the full part. So let me just read the whole read for you. Okay, so it did indicate that there was something that this moment, this tower moment that occurred within this connection did provide you with some, it was painful for you, okay, this sort of instability within this connection. It did cause a hiccup. It did knock you a little bit off balance and put you into the space of this sort of being in a space of kind of reflecting on self or even going within self. Something that I talked about was recognizing that, earlier in the day today, I had somebody mention that they hated seeing the word healing coming through in tarot readings so often. And I thought, okay, well, so what else could we call it? Well, we could call it evolving, I suppose, and we are always evolving. And I don't know that that's ever necessarily an ending, that there's an ending to our own evolution. I would argue that there isn't, I think that we will continue to evolve until, and I hope that for us, honestly, is that we will continue evolving as individuals as we grow older, that it's always a process. But there was one sentiment here of being able to look back and see how far we've come and understand that. So these actually came out in the reverse. And I'm going to explain that. I flipped them around for a reason, is recognizing that the things that we want, the manifestations that we've put into motion in the past will come to fruition. What you are being reminded of in this moment is to remember that the energy that you give out, you will receive. All things come full circle, group 3. So whatever it is that you are projecting out, so long as you remain in that energy and that you continue to give that out, it will come back to you. That is law. So continue manifesting. Do not allow yourself to fall off balance and forget what it is that you are trying to manifest. I did mention, I said in the reading that I was surprised that the Six of Wands hadn't come out, and recognizing that the one is going to stand out to you. And then I realized that this is the Five of Wands and this is the Ace of Wands, and that together those equal 6. And so there is this hit about understanding that you will know there will be someone who comes in who sticks out among everyone else as the one, and you will know. And remembering to remain in that space. Will it be this person within this connection? I'm not sure, honestly. However, if you continue to give love out, you will receive love back. Remember your manifestations. There is something in this connection that has caused an awareness surrounding setting boundaries within communication. And I'm not sure exactly, specifically what that is, but one example of that could be over communicating in spaces where people are under communicating, sort of over explaining in order to feel validation, and having some sort of boundary surrounding that. Another hit here with the Judgment card coming out at the bottom of the deck is that this is all based on karma. This is good karma coming in. It is the reward for the energy that you have been giving out. And the recognition, again, group 3, that that energy has to come back to you. That's how it works. It is law. And that you are intended in this moment to keep the faith and continue manifesting the reality that you want. All right, group 3. That is your reading. I'm so sorry that you got caught off there at the end. Hopefully this resonated. I don't think I said it quite the same, but I think I still delivered the same message. If this resonated with you, group 3, please like and subscribe to the video. Leave me a comment down below and let me know how this resonated with you. I'm so grateful that you're here with me. Enjoy the rest of your night. Peace.